Hi, it's Tom and Aimee here from 4 Boys in a Caravan. We're here at the Burrum Shores campground on the Fraser Coast, located about half an hour north of Hervey Bay.
We're going to take you through the setup today of the Leader Gold LE.
Yes, so this is going to be exactly the same as the Supreme Classic Tourer. We're going to go through exactly how to set it all up, so come on through, we'll show you how it's done. So we'll start at the front of the van. What we've got here is, as standard on our Leader Gold LEs and our Supreme Classic Tourers, we have the standard 50mm ball hitch. So this is pretty much your standard hitch that comes on most of your vans with your handbrake. And this is all mounted on our Road King chassis, all made in-house by us. The best chassis you can get on the market. Connecting up, we have the 12-pin plugs and your Gray Anderson plug. So if your car isn't already wired for the 12-pin plug, we'll give you all the wiring diagrams to get your car wired up. So that's got your 12-pin plugs and your Gray Anderson plug. This is the one that's charging your batteries. So as you're driving, that's giving all the charge directly to your batteries. Also, as standard, we have the brake safe cable. So the brake safe, for some reason, if your van ever decides to go for a bit of a run and jump off the car, this brake safe cable will engage and actually pull all the brakes on. So your van's not going to pass you going down the highway anytime. So also, as standard on these vans, we have two 9-kilo gas bottles located on the front of the chassis. So these have your regulator at the front, and this is your selector to select which gas bottle you're going to be using. So this is basically, you always have your gas bottles turned off every time you're traveling. All right, so also on the side of the chassis at the front here, you have your water connection point. So this is for your mains water. So this has got a non-return valve and pressure reducing valve. So if you're ever at a place that's got extremely high pressure, this will make sure that none of your pipes bursting on the inside of your van. So your water connection is at the front. You also have your water tap here as well. So if you want to fill up like a dog bowl or something like a bucket or anything like that, or you want to put a hose on and wash the kids down, you can put all that on there. The other awesome feature of the front of this van is we've got this steel tray located right here between the chassis. So this is super handy for putting a bit of stuff in. You can chuck a few sneaky bits of firewood in there. But what I really like to use it for is for my grey water and my water hoses. They always sit in there, never ever come out, and it's such a great place to keep them because it can get wet no matter when, so it works well. Moving to the off side of the caravan, so I like to call this side like the utility side. So basically this is where all your power and all your water and all that kind of goes. So at the front of the van on this model here, this is a triple bunk model. So what it does is it puts the hot water service at the front here. So this is your gas and electric hot water system. You can get the option of a continuous gas hot water system, but this one has got our standard gas electric hot water system. We've also got the external shower. So this comes standard on all the Gold LEs. It is an option for the Supreme Classic Tourer, so it can be added on any van. This is extremely handy. If you just want to rinse the kids off after the beach, or even if you want to wash the dog outside, it's really good. The main thing is when you're packing it away, make sure the taps are always turned off and the pump is not turned on. So basically, because what it does is if the pump turns on while you're driving and the taps are on, it's going to pressurize that hose inside and it's going to burst open. So always make sure that the taps are closed off, there's no water left in the hose. Towards the front of the van on here, we have our battery box, which is mounted directly on the chassis. So basically that's keeping in with regulations and everything like that. So the best thing is the vans come standard with 2 batteries on here. It really just means that the access, if you ever need to get the batteries, it's super handy to get to. And it's as simple as sliding the cover down and you've got access directly to the batteries right there. Here we have located the water filler tanks. So these are the caps where you put your hose in. This is what fills up all your water tanks. So each one is individual. The trick with these, a lot of people can have issues with these, is the trick is when you're undoing them is you got to push them in, twist them, and then they pull straight out. Now when they're locked, you won't be able to push them in and they'll just keep turning. So if you can't push it in, it means they're locked. So they are super easy. So as soon, just push it in, turn. Now the key is, these already have breathers installed on them. So you just got to push your hose in here, fill up your water tanks, and you'll hear the air basically gurgling out as it's filling up. So It just means it's not going to be constantly spitting in and out. If you do find it is spitting in and out, sometimes you need to push the hose in just a little bit further to get past that. But these caps are super handy. No one's going to be sealing your water in the middle of the outback. If you ever need to get access to the back of the fridge, it also has a little drain from the inside of the fridge to stop all the moisture building up inside. So that normally also comes out of here and drains away. It can be like a little drip every few seconds. This is the exhaust of the fridge as well, and we also have an exhaust on the roof as well. So basically what that does, it creates that airflow going through to really cool the fridge down. When you're in super humid conditions, there is a fan that we can turn on from the inside, and that also helps alleviate some of that heat that's inside there. So this is your 15 amp power inlet. So when you're at a caravan park or something like that, you hook up your 15 amp power lead, hook it up right here. So that's going to power like your microwave, and it's going to turn on your fridge to 240. It'll also run your washing machine if you've got your washing machine there as well. So down the back here we have the grey water outlet. So this is what comes from your sink, from your shower, all comes down into the grey water tank and out this. If you need to close it off at all to capture that grey water, it's as simple as closing that valve and then open it up to release it. Here we have our stabiliser leg. So when we're set up on site, this is what's going to keep the van stable. So basically as simple as pulling it out and dropping it down and locking it in. Obviously in different levels you can put it all at different angles depending on how low the van is. So, and it is as simple as winding it down. So the main thing is with the stabiliser legs is not to overdo the tension on these. So these are literally just to stabilise the van. They're not to lift the van, they're basically to stop it from rocking and rolling. So at the rear of the van we have the spare tyre mounted on the forearm bumper bar. They'll take about 80 kilos of weight, this bumper bar, super strong. We also have the wired reverse camera as standard. So we provide you the kit that gets mounted in your car. All right, so over here we have the outdoor TV box. So this is standard on the Gold LEs and it's an option for the Supreme Classic Tourers. So as simple as grabbing the TV from inside and plopping it straight on the same bracket on the outside. It's got your power, your antenna connection, everything. All right, so this is everyone's favorite part of the caravan, the chemical toilet. The chemical breaks down everything, all the solids that are inside there. When you want to empty it, you got the hatch, you got to lift up this little lever and pull it straight out. When you go to empty it, it's as simple as taking the cap off, and you got this little button that puts a bit of air inside it to be able to drain it out. Now once you drained it out, chuck some water in there, swish it around, give it another rinse out, empty it. When that's all clean, come put it straight back in. Make sure this locates right in that little groove again and close it all up. Now we generally keep the chemicals inside, and so you chuck the chemicals in once it's all cleaned. We have our 10 amp outlet right here. So that's if you want to power something up on this side. You can power up your outdoor fridge or anything like that. 10 amp, and you also have your 12 volt outlet. So you got your USB and you got your cigarette lighter plug in here. So that works really well for powering anything up outside. The kids want to charge their phones, iPads, something like that. It's really easy. So always on this side of the van as standard comes with a picnic table. So this is such a good thing to have on the van. You can put about 30 kilos of weight here. It's also got its own little light source here, which comes really handy at night time. So here we have the front door. So this is the entry to the caravan. To get access, it's as simple as lifting this latch up, putting it towards the back, and there's a little latch at the back here which actually clamps onto the door, stops it from flapping around. If you want to separate the doors, it is super easy. You just have to lift that handle up and that separates the doors. So that creates a huge amount of airflow through the van when you're off-grid camping. To close it again, just lift the handle up, clip straight back together again and close it up. So whatever you do though, when you got the handle like this, don't push on that handle because it can break it. You always got to be lifting this, do not push down on it. So underneath the door, to make it easier to get in, obviously we've got to put a step in. So this step is super handy. So all you do to get it out, you got to kind of lift it up and pull out. And it drops down. And same again to put it away, you got to lift it up and push it in. It's as easy as that. All right, so at the front of the van, we have the front tunnel boot. So basically these are compression locks. So it's as simple as lifting up, twisting, and you pull them straight out. So this is where we keep the tools. So it's got your wheel brace, your awning rod, that kind of stuff. So it's super handy. There's heaps of space in here for you to put your stuff in. So also in here is your compliance plate. So this details your bore weight, your tier weight, your ATM, all that kind of stuff. So that's all located on this plate. All right, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to actually pull the awning out and set it up. All right, so what we do is we've got little latches on these sides that lifts up and slides out. You've got a little knob down here that actually tightens up the arm, so you've got to loosen that off. But you've got to do the same on the other side to start with. So again, you've got to lift the lever up, pull it out, undo the little knob. Then we need the awning rod. This is very handy for us people that are short just like me. Right up the end here, you have a little latch which you got to push back, disengages the gears, so enables you to pull it out. So what we've got to do is you've got to hook the rod onto the tag, and basically what you do is you then just pull it all the way out. So what you want to do is you want to extend it all the way out, so you got this groove coming down, lining up with this nut. So that gives you the best runoff of water off the awning. Once you got the awning out extended to where you want it to be, you pull these arms up and that locks into position up the top there. Once you got that in, you then tighten up this knob and that holds it in that exact spot. And we just got to do exactly the same again on the other side. So the arm comes up, locks into position there, and tighten that knob up. Again, that whole awning is now secured in position. What we want to do now is we want to get it to the height that we need it to get. So it is as simple as lifting this lever right here, and we lift it up and into position. Now with it just me doing it by myself, generally need to do it in stages. So we do one side, then we'll go and do the other side. Lifting it up. All right, I've done that side a little bit higher. I don't like to do it all the way on one side at each time. So I like to bring one side up and away we go. All right, so the other option you got with the awning is if you don't want the arms to be like this, you can actually pull the arms all the way out. So the way to do that is to start with the arms, again, all the way back down on either side. And basically what you want to do, you got a little clip here. So you push that clip up and that releases that leg, and it's as simple as bringing it straight back out. And you do that on either side. Lift up the clip, pull it out, and put it down. Now what happens is when you do that, what it does is it actually rotates this barrel. So to get the awning as taut as possible, you loosen this knob again and you just simple as push it back out. And you do that on both sides. You straighten the legs up. You want to strap it down. No matter if there's no wind, strap the awning down, because you could be out somewhere and all of a sudden the wind will pick up and your awning is going to end up over the caravan. You don't want that happening. All right, so when you're done with the awning, or you want to take off for a big day and you're worried about the winds, the best way to do it is just to pack it away. So again, it's the same process, you're just doing it in reverse. So what you do is you just undo the knob, push the button in, bring the arm back down. You do the same on the other side. So you're pushing the button in, releasing the arm back down. And then as simple as flicking this switch back over while holding onto the awning, because you do not want to let it go, because these are all tension. So once you flick it, it'll walk straight back up. So that covers the outside of the van.
Now let's give you a tour of the inside. Every caravan comes standard with your oven and stovetop. Just remember to lift both lids when you're wanting to use it. And if the lid does shut, the safety switch will turn it off. And same again with the oven and the grill. If you just press the ignition button and turn it to the temperature you want it on, and just making sure that that flame is on before you close the door. Remember when you're using the oven and the stovetop to turn your range hood on, and there's also a light ensuring ventilation. I always like to open the windows too for extra ventilation. Every caravan also comes standard with your microwave, but remember this will only work when you're plugged into your 240 volt. In the kitchen, you've got your water tank gauges. By pressing this button, it'll show you exactly how much you have left in the tanks, as well as your grey water. And above the bunk beds, we also have our reading light, as well as our USB plug, 12 volt power and 240 volt power. Under the main bed, we have a huge amount of storage.
And this is where we keep our battery charger, our main fuses, and our brake safe control unit. I'll show you a little bit about this one. So the fuses are all located here. These are the new type of fuses. They're super easy to change. You just got to make sure that you've got a little bit of tooling to be able to change them out if you're ever required to. We supplied some of these with the van, so you'll have them there. Also the battery charger, just make sure this is always on. So whenever you're plugged in a 240 volt, this will actually charge the batteries. You have your brake safe controller. Now there's a little bit to this one here. There is 3 settings on the brake safe controller. So you have the first one up the top is the 12 volt auxiliary power. So that's the one you use when you are connected to your car and you're doing a lot of trips. The next one is the battery charger. So the second one, so that's if your van's been sitting still for a while and you want to be able to charge up your battery. The next one is the off position. So if your van is in storage and sitting there for a certain amount of time, you have it off so you're not creating any charge on your battery. Also, we have the push to test button just here. So if you push that in and the light comes up green, it means your battery is good. If you press it and it comes up orange, it means you need to charge your battery.
Beside the main bed, you've got your USB port, your 12 volt and your 240 power. Our standard roof hatches also come with wind-up cover, as well as the light and the 2-way fan.
So standard in all the vans is the 3-way fridge. So this runs on your gas, your 12 volt and your 240. So when your car is connected, it's running off the 12 volt, so that's off your car battery. When you disconnect that, it runs straight onto the gas, and when you plug in your 240 volt power, it goes straight to your 240 volt power. You can select 240 volt power, we can select 12 volt power, or we select gas. Or, if you're just like me, you just leave it on automatic and never need to touch it. All the toilets we have are the chemical toilets. We can also do a composting toilets, but we generally always use the chemical toilets. These toilets here is a simple flash button at the top. There's a red light that comes on here when it is full to give you a good indication that it needs to be changed. And underneath here is the opening for the flap. So basically, to flush it, you open that up, press the flash button, and that puts all the water down there. And then when you're finished, simply close the flap up. Always make sure that flap is closed before you pull the cassette out. So now we come to the brains of the caravan. So this is our Red Arc Manager 30. So this is standard on all our Leader Gold LEs and Supreme Classic Tourers. This is such a great system. So the Red Arc system tells you exactly what your battery charge is. It tells you how much amps you got coming in from your solar, from your 12 volt, and even from your car. So it tells you exactly how much is being used, how much is being pumped in. It's such a great system to be able to change it from touring to floating to storage. It's also lithium compatible, which is one of the greatest features of this thing. We have our hot water. We've got the electric one. So basically we turn that on whenever we're plugged into 240. It's not going to do anything when you're not plugged into 240. So on the other side we have the gas. So when you flip this on, the light comes on, so that'll start flashing for a little while until it ignites. If it fails to ignite the first time, it's going to start flashing quite quickly. If it does that, simply turn it off and turn it back on again to try and light it. Sometimes it can take a couple of goes, especially if you haven't used it for a while. The next button down is this black one here. This is your master switch. So if I turn that off, that kills all your 12 volt power. So basically, if you put it into storage and you don't want to kill your batteries, don't want any usage, you're putting a cover over it so the solar's not doing anything, you turn that off. Otherwise, you can pretty much leave that on the whole time. Underneath that is your water pump. So you only ever need to use this when you are not plugged into water. So if you're a caravan park and you've hooked your hose up to the water supply, you don't need to touch the pump. The pump is only to be used when you're off grid and you've got water in your tanks. If you leave that pump on without water in the tanks, it will eventually burn out. And the last switch down the bottom here is your fridge fan. So this one here, that'll turn the exhaust fan on your fridge. So basically if you're in a place that is super hot and humid, your fridge is starting to struggle a little bit, you put that fan on, because what that does, it exhausts all that hot air that's floating around that back of that fridge, it exhausts it all out. So it makes it work a lot more efficiently. Last but not least, we have our Fusion radio system. This is fantastic. So this is all Bluetooth compatible. So everything can be controlled by your phone. So it is one of the best on the market. So it's so easy to use. One of the great features about this van is this table. This is a Nuvo Mapper table. So you have a little handle underneath here that enables you to swivel this table around, push it in and out. Also, this can go down to make another bed. It's by simply pushing this button down the bottom, and that pushes the table right down. That enables even more people to sleep inside this van. So when you switch on the water pump up in the cupboard and you're wondering what that crazy noise is under the sink, this is actually where your water pump is located. So all that doing is it's actually operating. So don't be alarmed by the noise of the pump running. Up in this corner is where we have all our resettable fuses. So basically if you've got something that trips on little 12-volt socket somewhere, this just pops out and it's just a matter of pushing it all back in. We have the circuit breaker for the aircon, so that'll actually isolate the air conditioner. And this is your, basically like your safety switch, your circuit breaker again. So if you do overheat, if something does draw too much power, it's gonna trip there. This is where you hook up your TV. So this is your TV bracket here, this is your aerial, and this is your aerial spot right here. And this right here is your booster. That spot, you won't get anything unless you got that booster on.